All right. Frankie, Anise, did I cover everything that? Okay. Anything from the TIs?
I just wanted to reiterate how, like, when Ross and I were sitting back here, I've never seen, like, this little puzzle piece, and I said that's, like, essential to orientation and helping students. Like, I was like, that is exactly how I feel about when I'm working with students, and how everything flows, and how you can actually truly help someone to the best of your abilities. So, just those 4 things are very important. No one else. Yeah, I wanted to have a
idea.
What was it?
Lay on the shirt.
You can have your last name on the back of the shirt, like it's a team shirt. This is good. I like that. That's,
I've done really good negative.
yeah, and that really is. I mean, as an advisor, this is what we train on. This is what we have to learn how to use. And if we don't have a piece of it, or we don't understand a piece of it, we're not giving the student the best information. And as an advisor myself, if I don't understand every piece of this, I start to get anxious. Because I start to wonder, how am I going to effectively help this student if I don't really understand these tools? So that's why going through, again, it's going to be really important. I understand that sometimes during class you're not going to want to ask a question. We encourage you to. This is a safe place. We want you to feel free just to get those questions out there. For some reason, or maybe you forget, or we ran out of time, just again, you can ask me, ask the TIs, we can bring, if there's something that needs clarification, we can bring it up, we can revisit. I can write reviews pretty quickly if we need like a take-home review or something like that. And I think I'm going to hand it back over to Frankie.
I wanted to elaborate a little bit about some of the one of the points that you made about what mind frame do the students come in, right? So like Heather mentioned, there's going to be different attitudes or different needs that our freshmen are going to come in versus our transfer students. So, Heather mentioned a couple of those and you all did as well, but also think about, some of our students are going to be traveling, right? They're going to be traveling from out of state, maybe they came in that morning, drove in that morning from LA, so that's going to also add to their level of stress and anxiety. Maybe they have their parents there, maybe they don't, maybe they're there on their own. So those are all things that they're going to be coming in with, and on top of that, you are going to be there to help support them throughout the day and make sure that their anxiety or nervousness about starting at this university is eased. And our ambassadors do a great job of doing that, and I know this class will do the same. You all will make the difference that day. They're going to remember you all. Not that they're not going to remember Heather, but they're really going to remember you all.
They don't need to remember me, that's not important.
Because they're going to be, you're going to be sharing with them a lot of different tips on how to be a successful student. So, and the same thing goes for transfer students. We'll talk more about that as well during the summer when we have NSO training and as we transition into transfer orientation, that they're also going to have different needs. So we'll talk about that as well later on.
And to kind of piggyback on that, in our office, so we do in the Academic Advising Center, we do the general advising. So I'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But basically, we cover all items outside the major. So anything to do with general education, anything outside the major, university academic policies, all that stuff. We also train interns in our office to be peer advisors. So, in fact, an ambassador is one of our interns. And I overheard her the other day, another ambassador came in and asked her how she likes being a peer advisor, and she said, it's great. I get to go to NSO every day. I get to do orientation every day. And so, but that's, to think about that, this is what you're training to do, you're training to be a peer advisor. And when we take surveys from students that have met with a peer advisor, oftentimes we get really great feedback, whereas they say, this was nice to hear from somebody that really understands where I'm coming from. Not that, professional advisors aren't trying to really understand and be empathetic and all those things, but you all have been in their shoes, literally done the same exact things that they're doing. and felt the same things that they're feeling. So the value of peer advisors is really, really great.
Absolutely. Yeah, because y'all were there, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? For Heather and I, it's been a little bit longer than that, so it's going to be a little different how they receive that information from you all versus Heather, one of her colleagues. So you all are an essential part of our orientation program, so know that you play a huge role in the success. Just wanted to touch base with you all. I know you were with your training instructors and you got to see what a small group presentation looks like. So what were some things that they did that you would want to incorporate into your small group presentation? What are some things that you noticed that they did? Yes, Taylor.
I recognize jokes to lighten up the mood.
Yeah, so the information, especially the catalog, is not the most fun, right? There's a lot of information on there that you're going to be sharing about requirements. So yes, trying to keep it lighthearted, engaging, that will be important. It'll be right after lunch too, so that can be a little bit challenging too when you're listening to a presentation on a full stomach, right? So that'll be also important. What other things that they do? Jada?
I like how Sergio offered to like give like highlighters, but I know like me, like if I see blank pages, I'm gonna freak out and want to underline everything. So just like having that option and just like seeing how it is highlighted, and then you feel very like calm and relaxed.
Yeah, awesome. Chris?
I was gonna say like be relatable, like be able to like help them out because there's like you went through the same thing a couple years ago, so it helps them out.
Yeah, definitely. Tiana?
I like Josh's presentation a lot. I think that like having the students read also some parts of the orientation or whatever also make it more interactive.
Yep, absolutely. So facilitating that group dynamic, letting them also learn, right, and read.
I think Rosalind did a really good job at letting us, like, when we had questions, it would kind of flow into what she was talking about. It wasn't like I was trying to remember a question that I had. I just always felt like I could ask it. It wasn't like I would be interrupting her or anything like that.
Nice. Yeah, Leila.
Brady smiled a lot, so I think that was good because it's such a long, obviously, presentation, so just having a smile and like riding your tone, I think keeps everyone like more engaged.
Yep.
Yeah, and like Brittany's icebreaker was like, oh, like what show have you been watching? And so it made us like talk to each other because someone would say a show and someone else would be like, oh my gosh, like that's so great. So it like makes us feel it's like we're all in this space together and it's not like, I don't know what I'm doing here, like I'm getting so confused. Someone put like a giant book in front of me.
Yeah.
And so it just made us feel like, okay, like let's relax, we're all the same, like we like the same shows.
Yeah, there's that part of where you're connecting with somebody, right? And that's intentional. That's why we want you all to be doing those icebreakers. And we don't want a student to go throughout their orientation day not talking to another student. You know, many of you probably met some of your friends that are still keep in contact with at orientation. So we want to keep that going. And just by doing an icebreaker, that's definitely intentional. Anything else? Jasmine?
Lizzie had really good transitions, so it didn't feel like she was like, and then she was like, we're gonna move on to this one.
Yeah.
And then if you pick up this, it was more.
Yeah, so she switched it up, right? It wasn't like, kind of what we talk about when you did your tour assessment, right? We don't want to be doing the same transitions over and over and over, because then you lose their engagement. Absolutely. Were you able to kind of see the presentation, kind of envision yourselves doing the presentation now that you kind of saw what it would look like? Yeah? Okay. So yeah, continue looking at the syllabus. We have a timeline on there, so keep on top of it. You know, continue to review that script. I think by next week, you're supposed to be at page 4 of the script. Someone remind me what the syllabus says? What does it say, Megan? I think it's page 4 or page 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Page 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So it seems like some of you have some work to do. So yes, keep at it. Again, it's going to come here before you know it. and you're only gonna do yourself a favor if you review part of it every week, right? So just do your best to review it along with any notes that you take here. But there is no quiz next week, so that's good. But then the week following after that will be when you begin your first term. TIs or Kyle, if you have announcements?
Just copy party tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then make sure that you have a lot of